Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. Liverpool are taking on Stoke City at the Bet365 Stadium on Wednesday night, looking to recover from what was a disappointing draw against Chelsea at the weekend. And first of all, a little word on the Chelsea game, because sadly I was busy over the weekend, so I wasn't able to get a post-match video out on it, so sorry about that. But yeah, it was just a disappointing result. You know, it's not like Liverpool necessarily deserved to win the game with the performance they put in. You know, we weren't at our very best, and Chelsea soaked up the pressure we were trying to put on them pretty well. But with the position we got ourselves in, you know, we got a reasonably lucky break. Mo Salah once again showing why he's in the Liverpool team, why he is so important to us with the goals that he brings to his game. And yeah, we just ended up throwing it away, really. It was a silly goal to concede. You know, Williams sort of cross/shot kind of thing. There's a debate over whether Mignolet could have done better. Personally, I think he should have got back a bit quicker. He should have jumped a bit higher, reached a little bit further, and I think he probably could have stopped that shot cross thing from going in. So yeah, really disappointing to see us throw the result away like that, because with the fact that it wasn't an amazing performance, it would have been great for Liverpool to get a win out of that game. But all in all, a point against Chelsea isn't the worst result in the world, as long as you pick up 3 points elsewhere in the matches against teams like Stoke. And given Liverpool's results so far over the last month or so against these kind of teams, you know, the so-called smaller teams, I expect that we probably will get a result in this game. So first things first, looking at the team news for the match, Jurgen Klopp said in his press conference today that Emre Can is pretty much back fit and will almost definitely be in the matchday squad for this game, because Emre Can, he's been carrying a little bit of a knock, some sort of niggle that's been keeping him out of games recently. He came on as a sub against Sevilla, but Jurgen Klopp suggested today in his press conference that he will be involved a little bit more than he has been in the past, over the past few weeks in this game. So, and whether or not he'll start or not, I will come on to that later with the starting 11 prediction. Elsewhere, Dejan Lovren is looking a little bit less unlikely. He was kept out of the game against Chelsea at the weekend with some form of injury. Looks like he probably won't be available for this game. You know, Jurgen Klopp sort of left it a little bit ambiguous, suggested that with upcoming training sessions, that's how we would work out whether or not Lovren's going to be able to start this game. So again, more on that later with the starting 11 prediction. Elsewhere, he pretty much confirmed that Mane and Firmino were going to start this game after they missed out from the game against Chelsea. Klopp seemed a little bit funny over whether or not he'd rested them. He seemed to suggest that he was actually using fresh legs with Sturridge and Oxlade-Chamberlain, which to me sounds like another way of saying he'd rested players, but you know, hey-ho, whatever. But Mane and Firmino are almost nailed on to start this game. So looking at how Liverpool are actually going to line up, I think it's almost definitely going to be Mignolet in goal. I think the centre-backs are going to be Matip and Klavan, because I think whether or not Lovren is ready for this game, I just think with the amount of fixtures we've got coming up, with how condensed the calendar is over the Christmas period, where we are pretty much playing weekend midweek, and then when you get to Christmas it becomes even more intensive than that. I just think, why risk someone and risk giving them an even more long-term injury when you're going to need to rotate your centre-backs a little bit over that period? So I think Klopp is probably going to leave Lovren out for this game, potentially bring him back for Brighton at the weekend, and go for Matip and Klavan as his centre-back pairing. I then think it's going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold at right-back, which could potentially pave the way for Joe Gomez at centre-back alongside Joel Matip. But I've said in past videos that I don't think, until we're sure that we're going to have Gomez long-term at centre-back, and we're not going to switch him round from being centre-back and right-back, obviously with Trent Alexander-Arnold not quite being ready to be playing week in, week out in that right-back position, I think you'd keep Gomez as a right-back, and I think Alexander-Arnold is probably going to get the nod for this game, just to give Gomez a little bit of a rest, and because Alexander-Arnold will get to do a lot of attacking and hopefully not too much defending against Stoke. And then completing the back line, I think it'll be Moreno at left back. Again, there's always that shout for Andy Robertson, but I think Moreno's been doing pretty well so far, and maybe Andy Robertson might get dropped in against Brighton on Saturday. And then the midfield, this is quite a difficult one to work out, because Liverpool's midfield has been the most underperforming area of the pitch in the last two results we've had. You know, against Sevilla and against Chelsea, the midfield never really shined. They never really got control of the game, not really doing enough attacking, not really doing enough defending either, and the games were just tending to pass a lot of the players in the centre of the park by. So I think that Klopp may look to make some changes in this area of the pitch, and I think he might start, and this is a might because it's very difficult to work out where he's going to go with this, but I think he might start by dropping Jordan Henderson and bringing Emre Can into that number 6 role, because I'm a big fan of Can in that number 6. I think he actually does a better job than Jordan Henderson. I mean, if you look at the back end of last season when Henderson was injured and Emre Can was playing that defensive midfield role, Liverpool were just so much more solid defensively, and while it did sort of affect how we attacked a little bit, I think some of that was also down to the lack of players like Sadio Mane, who was injured between then then and the end of the season. So I think Emre Can does a very good job in that number 6 role, does a much better defensive job than Jordan Henderson. And given how Henderson's performances over the last couple of games have been really poor, as much as Jurgen Klopp, you know, he's not a knee-jerk manager who doesn't make changes immediately, I think he might just look to shake things up with that in the midfield. And then I think either side of Emre Can, Klopp is going to go for Adam Lallana and Felipe Coutinho, because with this being, you know, only Stoke as it is, I think there's more room to maybe go a little bit more attacking than we have done in the last few games with the midfield, and put Lallana and Coutinho both in that area of the pitch. And then the front three, I think it's going to be Salah, Firmino and Mane. Obviously, we know that Firmino and Mane are almost definitely going to start. There is a shout for resting Mo Salah. Obviously, you wouldn't want to drop Mo Salah because he's absolutely incredible. There's a shout for resting him because with us relying on him so much, the last thing we want is for him to burn out or to lose his form or to get an injury. That would be, you know, disastrous for Liverpool's Premier League campaign and Champions League campaign. But I just think, you know, why not play Mo Salah in this game? And if things are going well, just bring him off after an hour or something like that. And, you know, if he has to play the whole game, then maybe we can drop him for a little bit against Brighton at the weekend. You know, there's always a shout for bringing Coutinho into that left wing slot maybe and moving Mane out to the right. But I just think, you know, after a bad couple of results against Chelsea and Sevilla, you want to get back to winning ways, and Mo Salah is the best way for Liverpool to do that. So taking a look at Stoke then, they haven't had an amazing season so far. You know, they've had a couple of good results dotted here and there. You know, the 2-2 against Man United was a very lovely result. As Liverpool fans, we're all very happy to see that. And they've had a couple of wins here and there, a few draws, but they haven't really strung a good run of results together at any point so far this season. And I think that consistency is sort of personified by their star player, Xherdan Shaqiri, he's the danger man. He's the one that Liverpool are going to have to look out for during this game. But sadly, he just hasn't quite hit the ground running. You know, he's showed flashes of brilliance, but he's never strung in together a good run of performances. And for that reason, Stoke themselves have never really, you know, got some consistency going so far this season. I mean, if you look at their recent results, they've got 1 point, they're 2 points from a last possible 9 over their last 3 games, drawing with Brighton and someone else. And then they did have a very disappointing result against Crystal Palace in their last outing, losing 2-1 after going 1-0 up. So they're not necessarily a huge threat, but like I said, they've got players like Shaqiri, they've got strong players like Mame Biram Diouf in there as well. Hesse could always end up being a threat. You know, he's another player who has bags of talent but just hasn't quite put together any consistency so far this season. So Liverpool will have to be wary going into this game, but hopefully Stoke won't bring their A game. And also, as a big positive, they haven't got Tory John Walters anymore, so that is a big thumbs up for us, because as we all know, John Walters, Tory Everton fan, always scores against Liverpool, so fantastic to see him gone. So hopefully Liverpool can bag 3 points in this game. It would be really important for us, after a couple of disappointing results, to keep our momentum going from the previous games before the Sevilla and the Chelsea game, you know. And with the draw against Chelsea as well, we've lost a little bit of ground on the top 4 as well, so it's very important that we keep picking up 3 points, we don't fall away too much, and I think that Liverpool have got every chance of doing it. So here are my 3 reasons why I think Liverpool will beat Stoke. So first of all, Stoke have struggled quite a bit against the big teams so far this season. You know, they had a couple of really good early results. They beat Arsenal 1-0, although that was during Arsenal's absolutely awful run. As Liverpool fans, we all know how bad Arsenal were during August, because we beat them 4-0 at Anfield and they were awful. Stoke also got a pretty decent 2-2 draw against Man United, which was pretty impressive. But since then, they lost 7-2 to Man City, they lost 4-0 to Chelsea, and they generally haven't really shown up for those big games. And that's important for Liverpool, because the teams that we've really struggled against in the past are the smaller teams who perform well in these big matches, you know, who are really good at sitting back and soaking up pressure. And Stoke, you know, while they used to be a strong, long ball, physically powerful team, that's just not the kind of style they bring anymore. They're much more about flair, intelligent passing football. Mark Hughes has really changed up Stoke's style, and hopefully the old adage about it being a cold, wet Wednesday night in Stoke will no longer prove true, and hopefully Stoke won't put in the kind of performance that other teams have put in against Liverpool when they've managed to suffocate us and prevent us from scoring goals. And second of all, provided Jurgen Klopp starts the Fab 5 in this game, and by that of course I mean Mane, Coutinho, Firmino, Salah and Adam Lallana, I think Liverpool have got every chance of scoring a lot of goals in this game. You know, like I just mentioned, Stoke should hopefully struggle to actually contain Liverpool like teams like Burnley have done so far this season. And if Liverpool have got that much attacking talent on the pitch, then I think we've got every chance of opening Stoke up time after time and hopefully scoring a lot of goals. And finally, as much as as Liverpool's past 2 results have been poor, we aren't actually doing that badly, you know. Before those results, Liverpool had actually built up a really good head of steam, you know. They were playing against teams like Stoke in the vein of Southampton, Huddersfield, West Ham, teams that are in that kind of lower region of the table, and they were getting really good results and putting in really good performances against them. And if someone had said about a month ago, you know, you'll beat Maribor, you'll beat Huddersfield, you'll beat West Ham, you'll beat Southampton, but you will draw against Sevilla and Chelsea, you probably have taken that. You would have said, actually, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. And yes, you know, it's not just about the results. The performances over the last 2 games weren't good enough and mistakes were made by Jurgen Klopp's team, but things are by no means as bad as some people have you believe. And provided Liverpool can bring those kind of performances that they put in against Southampton, Huddersfield and the other lower down sides, I think we should be absolutely fine against Stoke and we should get the win. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, why not give it a like? If you're new around here as well, hit that subscribe button. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days as well. And I'll be back tomorrow with the post-match video after Liverpool hopefully beat Stoke. Bye for now.